Hello and welcome to Pals Pulls. This is the Comics Pals Weekly Show where we review comics. Marvel, DC, Image, Boom, whatever publisher we like. It's publishing great books. We talk about them right here on this very show. I am joined today by Tyler.
Guten Tag. I can't
Kale.
ever say just hi. What the fuck's wrong with me?
What's up, hot dogs?
Apparently neither can Kale. And I'm Sean saying hello. If you're watching us live, do let us know you're watching. I am actually going to ask you guys for a moment. Don't mind me. I'm just pouring a drink into my my Comics Pals cup. I don't know if you guys can hear that.
If only there was a link in the Twitch bio for that.
Wow. Look at that. Yes.
Look how refreshing.
I gotta teach you how to pour a beer too. All right, we got.
Yeah. I know. I'm trying to make sure it's in the camera, Tyler.
Okay. Right.
Jesus.
Matt in the chat. Well, we'll talk about that Saturday.
Listen. No comment, okay? No comment until Saturday morning. Listen, if you're a fan of the show, if you're a listener of the show, you know that there has been a bet that's been ongoing between myself and a listener. There's a major update on that bet, and if you want to hear what I have to say about it, if you want to hear what happened and you don't already know, tune in live this Saturday morning at 10:15 a.m. twitch.tv/thecomicspals. I will have things to say on that day.
I do too, actually. So
I bet you do. I bet we all do. I bet we all do. If you want to watch this show live, that's 6 p.m. Eastern every single Thursday. So come hang out with us as we review comics. And by the way, if you want to have your book chosen as the listener pick, write in thecomicspals@gmail.com. Any place you can leave a comment. Do that. Let us know your pick. And if we choose it, we'll read it. We'll give you our review live on the episode. Speaking of books, let's talk about the books that we are talking about today. We've got Batman vs. Robin #2. We have Do a Powerbomb #5. Immortal X-Men #7. And the listener pick this week is Star Wars Visions #1.
Once, a very quick and unanimous pick. It was nice.
Yeah. The first time that it really didn't kind of come down to the wire was like, yeah, this is the book.
It wasn't even an argument. Like, we had other picks, but then everybody was like, "Ooh, wait, no, that one."
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And also, by the way, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, is this the first Star Wars book we've done on the show?
Yep, pretty
Really?
sure.
You guys have never done a Star Wars book before? I guess
so.
not. I mean, I've been here most of the time you've been doing Big Two reviews, right? Because previous to that, you only did Image stuff, from what I remember.
No, did we not? I don't remember. It's been so long. I've been thinking about the fact that according to YouTube, this week, I think, makes us 6 years old.
Old enough to drink.
Yeah, you're right. Old enough to drink.
Old enough for me to drink, let me tell you. Anyway, I wanted to mention patreon.com/thecomicspals, where for as little as $3 a month, you can support your boys and our drinking habits and get some awesome content like our newsletter. You get access to our exclusive show over there called Palling Around. And you get your name shouted out on the main show, your superhero or supervillain nickname that we provide for you. So let's get into the books. Batman vs. Robin #2. This is by Mark Waid on the writing side, Mahmoud Asrar doing the art, Jordi Belair on colors, and Steve Wands on letters. I was not here for the review of the first issue, and so I read it prior to this. I thought that the first issue was phenomenal. I thought it was really, really great. A lot of fun, some mystery. You know, Mark Waid wasn't necessarily holding our hands in terms of what the answers are. Nothing too telegraphed. It's got the magic element, which Batman versus magic is kind of fun. Um, and maybe my favorite thing about it is that it ties into the World's Finest book, which I really have enjoyed, and I love the continuity. I love the fact that you're rewarded.
It's that
Feeling like,
old school
yep.
continuity too.
Yeah.
Like you don't see that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And in this issue, there's some really interesting continuity things. Not really continuity, but like more greater DC universe
Oh
inclusions
yeah.
that I'm like, oh
Oh
yeah. I know Kale was eating good on this
man.
one.
Oh, man,
Should I say there's a spoiler alert? Oh, the spoiler alert thing isn't
Yeah.
working. Hold on.
Spoiler alert.
There it
We
is.
will spoil all these reviews or all these books to the degree that we need to talk about them. So be forewarned. This issue is more Batman and Alfred's journey into figuring out what's going on here. There's some really cool cameo appearances. Reminded me of sorry.
Whoa,
Reminded
bless you.
me of World's Finest. That book has a lot of cameos in it. This time we saw the brothers from the House of Secrets, Cain and Abel, who I've seen in Sandman.
Yep.
So that was pretty
The
cool that they were
best.
here. Yeah. And a weird journey that Batman and Alfred were on in this issue.
Yeah, this is trippy. This is
Yeah.
like one of those issues where it really lets the art shine, and Mahmoud Asrar is fantastic.
Yeah.
For sure.
And seeing him do all these weird dream sequences, and I think Batman even describes it as dream logic. It's like Alfred, it's dream logic. Be careful. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Like it doesn't, but it does.
Yeah.
And I like that. That's just like Mark Waid just understands like comics. This is a good way to write this and make sense in comics. Also, the weird inclusion of the witches from the Witching Hour, which is like
Wild.
a deep cut in
Wild.
DC.
Only Mark Wade. And you know what?
Yeah.
Only Mark Wade could get away with it.
Well, I mean, he wanted to draw. I mean, he let Mahmoud Asrar draw a goth girl on the page. Goth girls in my Batman books. Yes, please.
We talked about how Jeff Johns is like a top 3 like DC historian. Like he's got that deep knowledge of DC comics. I think Mark Waid might be the number 1, or at least in the
right.
conversation.
He's got it for
And
both big two.
Yeah, he put it on display. He might be the biggest comic fan of all time, at least the biggest one to have a job at the big 2, because the cuts here are so great. Like he went way over my head, and I know some of this stuff, but a lot of this stuff went over my head. But you know what's the talent that he has is that the fact that I didn't necessarily know these characters didn't bother me. It wasn't an issue. They were there. You got an idea of why they were there. You didn't know all the history, but you knew enough to be able to enjoy their moment. It was great.
And even still, like you didn't need to. Like he does such a good job of like putting you in that moment and even if you don't know, like going, "Oh, wait, who's that?" But then Batman goes, "It's a dream. It doesn't matter."
Right.
And that's it. Feels great.
Yeah, I love Mark Waid. The only comic book related tattoo I have is from a Mark Waid Daredevil comic.
There you go.
It's a big. I'm a big fan of his. Like outside of like Brevoort, who doesn't write, or maybe like Kurt
Totally.
Busiek if we're going writers. Like Mark
Yeah.
Waid knows his stuff, and he just writes really fun like this is a Batman book. This is specifically a Batman versus Robin book, but it's fun. It's not dark. It's not dreary. It's not a brooding Batman. It's this weird, kind of swashbuckly Batman, which kind of feels like what his Daredevil was. His Daredevil was a whole different, ball game compared to the Brubaker stuff that came before it. So I'm kind of getting that same kind of feel from this.
This felt a lot like the animated series for me. Like especially like the chase sequence or whatever when he's, being onslaughted by the all the dream stuff. I was like, "Oh, this is Batman the animated series."
Definitely. I think the Batman of the World's Finest book by Wade feels like that as well.
Yeah.
Feels like it could be that continuity easily. You talk about the art and how good Mahmoud Asrar is. I've been a fan of his since a while, since his Marvel run, where he did some pretty cool stuff. And this panel in particular is so funny, but it's so crazy too. This is the perfect timing for this book to be releasing. So look at this panel of Batman just up to the nose in green slime goo. And look at his expression. Like, he looks absolutely horrified. You
Yeah.
can't even see his eyes because there's all this goo in them.
That
Just,
that
it
reminds
feels,
me of
yeah.
that reminds me of me as a kid when I got a creepy crawler set.
Wow.
Is that a deep cut? Nobody knows what that is.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I never got one.
It feels like
my
they're
cousins.
having so much fun.
Yeah.
And it's fun to watch really, really cream of the crop creators have just a good time. This is like the kind of like B tier event book that I like, where
Yeah.
the stakes aren't that high because they can't be. They're not trying to make it seem like more than it is. It's a good romp. And that's it, and it's just fun. I don't care what the outcome is of this. Like, it's going to be normal, whatever it is, right? Like, like magic will be impacted somehow. Maybe Alfred will be back. Maybe he won't. It's inconsequential, but it's a good time.
So we haven't talked about Jordy Belair on this because it's hard to talk about Jordy Belair because it's like, oh, it's Jordy Belair. It's good,
Yep.
Right.
But this is a super colorful book for what it is. Even though it's like a jaunt between the House of Secrets and the House of Mystery, it's still super engaging with the color. Like the cover is a good indicator of what the kind of palette you're going to be getting in this book, because it's not this washed out dark tones, muddy tones. It's almost Super Friends like in the color scheme, which I'm loving. So
I do have to criticize, and I hate to do this, but the page stock that DC uses now for their like lesser books is just so bad. It really is. Like, it doesn't really pop in a way that allows the colors to shine. And it's really frustrating. Like, these pages don't have the life to them that they would if
Is
they
it like
were
the
on
matte-
like the page stock of Duel Powerbomb, which we're going to talk about in a moment.
Is it on
Especially
like
for the
super
price you're paying.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Sean, is that super glossy paper that kind of leaves fingerprints?
No, I don't even know if I would say that. Like, it's just very
yeah.
maybe it doesn't come across well on camera, but
Not as
if
well.
you were holding it, if you were looking at it, it looks dulled. The colors do. And it's just like, compare it to like hold in your hand and look at like Doomsday Clock and how great that card stock was, that page stock was,
You know
or
what?
or Joker, or any big DC book.
I don't have that in physical, at least collected. I do have every issue, but I should have done that this past weekend.
I don't have to worry about page stock. So
I just got to worry about my iPad flickering now, which is great. So
oh yeah, my iPad definitely died at 53%. So
that's a battery issue, Cal. Yep.
yeah.
Telltale
Oh, you're
sign.
telling me.
Yeah.
There is a really cool moment towards the tail end of this comic that I did not see coming. That is a real treat for any fans, like core fans of Damian, fans of Grant Morrison's run on Batman. I popped for that. I don't feel the need to spoil it. It's really cool. Go out and buy the comic if you want to know what it is. But it's that deep. It's a deep reference, while also kind of being like, to a Batman fan, to like a fan of that era, it hits you right away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was so long ago now.
It's like when the Zaranar suit showed up in Chip's Batman.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Exactly.
okay, yep.
Yeah. We're in that era where referencing something from Grant's run, which, that particular issue was like 12 years ago, is an old reference. Like, you're paying homage, you're bringing something back. That's just wild to think about.
So, now that you mention that, it's a side thing, but like the fact that that's happening, and also we get all those like legacy books from Marvel where it's like, oh, Marvel Hulk is getting its own miniseries with the old creative team and stuff. Have we hit like a new age? Is there an indicator now for like, you had Silver? Technically, is it still the modern age? Like, it can't always be the modern age, I'm curious, especially with the advent of like digital and stuff.
I would also posit that the movies would have to have an effect
I mean,
somewhere in here.
yeah, I mean,
You know,
for,
like
for
the
sure on this, because there's a goddamn Black Adam ad on the cover.
yeah.
No shit, right?
Fucking ruins it.
I'm saying pull for sure. I thought this was really great.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Pick of the week.
Nice. I figured that. Cool.
Even with the $6 price tag, I'm liking it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm certainly not happy about that, but I mean, I felt good about it at the
At
end.
least it's a good book. Like imagine paying
Yeah.
$6 and instead it's what did we have to read last week?
Oh God, I don't even want to think about last week. Yeah, like $6 is a huge amount, but when you have a pleasurable experience, it's like, okay, what else? What else? What else was I going to do with that $6? So thanks DC for the price tag, and thanks to the actual creators for justifying it.
It's hard to get a $6 pleasurable experience around here.
I know where you could.
Yeah. Well, the plane tickets are expensive.
Paying $6 for a comic,
Okay, all right, good.
it makes me want to do a power bomb on someone. It really does.
Who? Just like the editors, or who decides that?
I'm not going to
Saslav?
name any names or anything like
You can
that.
say
just in
Saslav.
case.
He's just running Cartoon Network. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, Daniel Warren Johnson's got me covered because while I can't do a power bomb, I can read a book called "Do a Power Bomb Number 5" by Daniel Warren Johnson, who's doing the writing and the art. Mike Spicer on the colors, Russ Wooten on the letters. I've missed like 3 reviews for this book. So glad I'm finally
It's so
here
weird.
for one. I know, right? So we're pretty far along, 2 issues to go, and we're in the finals, the tournament finals. Sun and Steel have made it all the way, what sounds like a Pokemon generation. And they're going to be facing
does.
off against. Sorry,
that just registered in my head. That was a good one. Sean.
It took a second for that one.
My head was like, that has to be already a thing. But no.
Well, I was like, wait, a what sounds like a Pokemon?
The 2 biggest Pokemon fans on this podcast. A little slow on the uptake there.
Couldn't put that one together.
it happens. And they're up against FYSO. Fuck your stupid opinions.
Yeah, hell yeah.
One thing I really have to credit this book for is that it really understands how to present wrestling in an interesting way. Like if Daniel Warren Johnson were, say, the director of an episode of a wrestling show, he'd probably do a really great job at that because he understands what you need to show to make the match as interesting as possible. And I never cease to be amazed by his ability to do that.
And specifically, I think there's a real skill, and wrestling moves are so kinetic. There's like with the German suplex, there is multiple frames you can choose from in that. You want to take the impact, you want to take the the actual lift. He knows the exact perfect spot for the most dramatic effect in a move.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always the impact. Sometimes it's midway through the move and then you hit the impact. It's really impressive, especially for a guy like after reading the back matter for issue 1, like hasn't really been into wrestling that long.
Yeah,
like, it was like a COVID thing for him, right?
Yeah,
since
his kid was born.
Yep. Nothing makes you want to watch people beat the shit out of each other like having a child.
And this match takes things to the extreme. It definitely feels like Johnson has given us like different kinds of matches, each match representing different eras or styles of wrestling. This one is very much an extreme match that is reminiscent of death matches and some of the more gory aspects of wrestling. And he finds a way to, again, present that in a way that's absolutely evocative of what it's like to watch a real hardcore death match.
And he knows what he's doing because our main character is wearing denim jeans. That's a sign that you're in an Extreme Rules match if you're wearing denim. Like
that's hilarious.
It's kind of a cliche at this point. And also, like, are they wearing GCW shirts? Like, I know it's not GCW, but like it's literally the same font and design of it. Which is
I didn't catch that.
This guy watched a Moxley match, I guess.
Yeah, this has just been a great pleasure. It really has. And it's like every moment that is supposed to work works. Even things like seeing Lona grab the barbed wire bat is awesome. Like you know what that means if you're a wrestling fan. There's a New Japan Pro Wrestling banner right
Yeah.
here. You know what I'm saying? Like how cool is that?
No pizza cutters though. I was kind of bummed about that. I was hoping there would be a pizza cutter spot in this.
Why would that be in hell? But hey, he's a wrestling fan, so I guess that's just what they're doing. I don't
He's
even know if
probably
they're in hell.
a big fan of Evil.
Yeah. This was fantastic. The storytelling here is brilliant.
So, Kale, as a non-wrestling Mark,
Uh-huh. I've seen
how you
Nacho
liking
Libre.
this? I hate the orphans. What are the quotes from that movie? It's one of the movies I did not enjoy when it first came out, but I've since learned to love. But
Easily one of my top movies.
Really? Okay.
No, I love this. It's tremendous. I mean, how could you not? It's so kinetic. It's so, and even just when I'm like, okay, I get it. He knows when to pull that dramatic, moment of actually doing the face reveal of was it Steel?
Yeah. I think she's Steel Rose.
Yeah,
Or
she's
Steel
Steel Rose.
Cobra Sun is his name.
Yeah.
Cobra Sun. Yeah, okay. Yeah. He knows exactly when to pull that string, and not only again, I think we said this on the first one, not only does he pull that one, he lets the other one rip too, where oh yeah, that messed her up too.
Right. Yeah. That was wild.
If I had one gripe with this, is that I felt like the actual match portion was over too quickly. Like I feel like they could have really like maybe gotten a little more. There could have been different spots to be shown, especially with like it's deathmatch style stuff. Like I feel like it's like, all right, barbed wire bat, table spot, chair spot, bam, like sure. I want more. That's the thing.
I even felt like it went a little long.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the match itself it is 15 pages.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. I might like it a lot then. If I want more of it.
Yeah.
That is probably longer than most action scenes would be in a comic. So I think he gave it a great amount of time. I get what you're saying though, because we're only getting it in chunks. Like, how do you represent a 30-minute match in a comic book? It's tough to do. So there's a lot of spots that I think Johnson could have represented. But for longtime wrestling fans, like seeing Lona do the Swanton Bomb off the top of the ladder, that if that doesn't evoke WrestleMania for you, then I don't know. Like that's JR on commentary, that's Jeff Hardy on the ladder, that's Bubba or whoever it was on the table. Like that's where my mind went.
My mind went to Hardy versus Taker, ladder match on Raw.
Sure.
One of probably my favorite matches of all time. So,
yeah. A+. This is my pick of the week. I'm in love with this book. I actually thought this was the last issue.
Me too.
So I was just like, okay, well, they're going to win, and that's it. And then seeing that there's actually more to do, 2 more issues to go, I was like, oh, crap. Okay, cool. Let's see how he lands the plane here. Love it.
Yeah, can't wait.
It's funny, like there has not been a Daniel Warren Johnson like creator-owned book that I'm like, it's all right. Like, dude hits.
Even his Big Two stuff is really fucking good.
This is actually only the second Daniel Warren Johnson book I'm reading, because I only read Beta Ray Bill. So,
you gotta get on Murder Falcon, man.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good. Kale, I got that the hardcover at Comic-Con, and he did like a Murder Falcon sketch in it.
Oh fuck yeah!
Which he did in like 30 seconds. Like he just did it for everyone. But I got this Martok. I'll put it in the camera for you.
Oh yeah,
Just
yeah.
a
You
mini
showed me that.
comic.
Oh yeah.
Dude, it's just Klingon goodness by him, and it's like there's barely any
Oh.
words. It's just a fight scene. I'm like, oh, this is my jam. I love Martok. This dude just likes
that
the same
rules.
things I like too, cause like, so like, dude, if you want to just be friends, that's cool too.
I'm actually really annoyed that I didn't get to see Daniel Warren Johnson at
Booth
Comic
was
Con.
popping.
Yeah.
He was doing like 4x6 head sketches like crazy. If you check his Twitter feed or like the Felix
Wow.
comic art feed, like this, he was
Oh,
dude was
wow.
working the whole time.
Well, Nightcrawler was working the whole time in Immortal
Ooh.
X-Men #7. My man was bamfing all over the place.
My pick of the week.
This was
No.
an awesome
Yeah.
book. No, Kale?
Come on.
Kale, there's
All
one
right.
thing you gotta know about me. I love a blue boy. Beast,
That's
Nightcrawler,
disturbing.
There's so many other blue boys.
Beast, Nightcrawler, Paul Giamatti in that one movie with Frankie Muniz.
Well,
Like
Frankie Muniz, of course.
yeah.
Everybody knows about Liar
big
Liar.
fat. Was it Big Fat
No,
Liar?
Big Fat Liar. Yeah.
Liar.
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 Also good.
Well, let's before we get into the did we love it, let's talk about who did it. Kieran Gillen wrote this one, Lucas Wernick on art, Daniel Curiel on colors, and Clayton Cowles did the letters. This issue is again Nightcrawler centric. It really focuses on his mission to just try to be everywhere at once and solve a lot of the problems and put himself on the line more than once in order to save the X-Men and, the world at large from Judgment. And I think that this is finally the time where I think Nightcrawler got his due in the Krakoan era. This was a really great Nightcrawler-based issue, I thought.
I love the thing I love about Nightcrawler is sure, there's the whole religious aspect of it that complicates things. A similar reason why I love Daredevil. But the fact that Nightcrawler is always the one shining light of hope, no matter what. And that's shown here, and then in a really, really dire situation. And I also like how he's like a little pissed off too, which I enjoy. I like a nice pissed off Nightcrawler. The fact that they're kind of bending the Krakoa rules a bit is fun. This is a simple one for me. Give me more Nightcrawler, I will like your book. Like that's a simple one for me. It's like Jean Grey with Sean, except I don't want to fuck Nightcrawler.
I don't want to do anything with Jean Grey,
Okay,
dude.
All right.
I don't know where that
I
comes
just saw
from.
you near the Alex Ross booth in the picture I took. I'm just saying there was some chemistry.
Oh God, that was a whatever. Go on.
That's all I
Wow.
got. Kale, save me.
You listen. You bamfed this hole. You gotta bamf your way out.
Listen, so Jean Grey aside, I think that Gillen has a knack for Nightcrawler's dialogue and kind of what works for this character. He's not overwriting it with which we've seen in the past. You think so, Kale?
Man, maybe not the dialogue, but I thought this issue in particular was very overwritten.
I'd go one step further and argue that most of Gillen's Krakoan era X-Men has been overwritten, but
I agree with that.
I mean, it's been a while since I've read an Immortal one, but this one was just. I mean, it was. We criticize a lot of writers for caption after caption and pages full of text. I'm looking at one where he's bouncing between Krakoa to the progenitor or whatever through magic. And it's just, 3 to 4 captions a panel. I'm like, that's insane. This whole thing to me felt expository. And for me, it didn't get fun until the end.
Interesting. I actually the end is the reason why this wasn't my book of the week.
oh,
So first of all, this book was a Nightcrawler book, but he's not the only character that got due here. I think Irene Adler, Destiny was awesome in this comic. Seeing that she was afraid, that was great. That added more drama and tension for me than whenever they were saying like, "Oh, we were judged," because like nothing happened. Whereas here's a character that is aware of the future and she's scared of what they're going to have to go through. That I thought added some dread and drama. Um, so I really liked that. And then also, um, who was I thinking of? Oh, Sinister. See that bit with Sinister where he tries to shoot the Moira in the tank in the what's it called? What's that tank that Vegeta's in in Dragon Ball Z on
Hyperbolic
Namek? Where
time
he's,
chamber sort of thing. I'm thinking more of a
No.
back to tank from Star Wars.
It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a back to tank. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
she's in that
remember what
back
they're
to
called.
tank, and Sinister's just trying to blast him with a
I
shotgun.
thought you said she got that back to tank. Something calling Star Wars characters.
Oh my god. No, that's not that's Dr. Afra, not not Irene Adler. But
More of a Ayla Sakura guy myself, but
fair. Yeah, I think Sinister got some good moments here. Hope even got a moment. This feels like a great tie-in to an event that I wish was doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm.
I enjoy this much more than I'm enjoying actual Judgment Day proper.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. If this was the Judgment Day issue, I would have enjoyed this and that. I think a whole lot more.
And funny enough, distinct lack of Eternals in this too. I wonder if that's what's causing it, causing my like of this more.
I also think, smaller scale and scope. Things are happening around, like Nightcrawler's moving in and out of all that stuff, but it's not what this book is about necessarily.
He's still being an active protagonist, whereas can you tell I'm going to screenwriting school?
Look at you.
Whereas the event is stuff happening to people.
We're not at the denouement just yet, Kel.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We have had an obligatory act, though.
We have, yeah.
What I didn't love was, so when Nightcrawler, the moment where he figures out like how to get to Moira at the end was awesome. That whole bit I thought was great. The fact that he was willing to continue to die, the little spiel about how like he experienced his death, because normally they resurrect and they have no recollection. The fact that he experienced his death and was resurrected with the memory of it and was still willing to put his body on the line over and over and over again. Nothing that I've seen in a Marvel comic has shown me who Nightcrawler is more than this issue.
I gotta say though, if they could have done this the whole time, what's with the whole thing where they were attacking Orcus at the beginning of Hoxpox with like Cyclops and stuff? And they're like, well, we don't know what happened there,
At first, I thought that's what this was. I thought they'd figured out how to go back in time or whatever.
I thought he was gonna go back and kill Moira, and like it was like, all right, just reset the timeline. But I guess she lost her power, so that doesn't work out. Then that's what Sinister was trying to do, though, which he might eventually do if the event is any indication.
What I didn't like so much was, every time Moira appears now, I'm just like, her dialogue's bad. She's one note. There's just no heat there for me anymore. And so once he actually got her and she's like, oh, what do you want? And she's just sitting there with a scowl on her face and she makes a quip, Orcus and the X-Men, this will never last. I didn't know she had a sense of humor. I don't know. And then Orcus has kind of been off the table for a while. So that whole plot has fallen apart for me.
Orcus is still relevant in the X-Men main series. Just X-Men.
Yeah.
I know, like MODOK's a part of it now and stuff. And you have like
he's been a part of it. Yeah. Immortal X-Men is the main X-Men comic as far as I'm concerned, and they're not here.
Moira is just turned into like an animated X-Men series villain at this point.
Yeah,
a little mustache twirly, but
any death she had is absolutely gone.
Yeah, for
It's
real.
like they got
Like
shifted
it's
over to
weird.
Sinister, really. Like Sinister has the heat now. It's like, oh, what is he gonna do? Which I guess they're doing it correctly if they're coming up with an event for him. So
Last year at this time, we were reading Inferno and talking. Well, I at least was talking
a
about
year
how much I
ago?
love
Fuck.
Moira and how great that storyline was. 1 year later, I feel the exact opposite. So
It's funny. While I was reading this, I still think about what of the Krakoan Hickman era stuff I want to get, and it's almost none of it. But I have that Hoxpox collection, but I should get Inferno to close it off, and I'm still a bit like, I don't know.
I would say get the Hickman X-Men omnibus.
yep.
It's not omnibus price. It's just hardcover price, really, because it has the one issue in it that I think is the best issue of Hickman's run, is the Apocalypse in a Suit issue.
Oh my god, that was so good.
Such a good issue. Like that alone, it's just like, ooh, it's good stuff.
The one where they went to space and fought the Brood. Oh my god,
You
that
big
was
Brood
so
guy,
awesome.
Sean?
Yes, the Brood are awesome.
Yeah, okay.
Is it the one with Brett Booth
Yes,
on art? Oh yeah, that was
Yes.
a great issue. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm a Brett Booth guy. I know that's a hot take, but
me too, dude.
I'm not. You are. You aren't.
I am.
I am. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like I like how
I-
when he shows up, it's a treat. You know.
I could take him or leave him.
Okay, that's fair. That's how I.
That was my
feel most
that was my first exposure. Like maybe I'd read something, but
Ooh.
I didn't. It was my first exposure knowing who Brett Booth was, and I was like, "Wow, this is fantastic! I love this throwback style." It was great, and then he shifted over and did some Spawn stuff, and that was great too. So,
Sideways, man. Check out Sideways. Good stuff.
oh the
That was like that
DC,
DC,
right?
post metal like new heroes sort of initiative.
he was in
He was in it. Yeah,
Wasn't
he was
he-
in
Dark
Crisis
Crisis,
last week.
right?
Yep, he showed
Yeah.
up for like 3 panels. I was hyped, man. I was.
I forgot to reference that.
Me too.
Immortal X-Men 7 is great.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. That was my. It's not your pick of the week,
Just-
right? Did you have a pick of the week yet, Sean?
Mine is Dual Powerbomb.
Okay.
It would have been this if the Moira stuff hadn't happened, but
Just so we're not talking about another artist on someone else's book. Lucas Wernick on this is, I mean, it's as Krakoan as it could possibly be. Like the colors on this are absolutely on point. I really, really liked the look of Nightcrawler and the things that he was, doing in all this. There's a lot going on. Did you guys notice that Cyclops' head is exploding in the in that big splash?
Yep, I was offended.
no.
Pretty funny.
I gotta see
I
that
gotta say,
now.
Wernick, since Trial of Magneto, has really been stepping up his game. Like this is like it's like
God.
main X-Men books are like whoever is on it, it's like a trajectory to like A tier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good on them because this stuff's good. It's real good. I think one of the issues I have with them typically is like, oh, I've seen panels reused in the same issue. Like maybe just like out of focus or zoomed in. I didn't notice.
I feel like we have called that out before.
We have, yep.
Maybe it was
I
in,
know I
maybe it
have,
was in
yeah.
Trial of Magneto. Yeah.
It was, yeah. I know explicitly where it is in Trial of Magneto. Yeah. But I can see that there might have been editorial issues with that miniseries, so that could have been it.
Let's talk about Star Wars Visions #1, a book that I am surprised got past editorial, not for the quality, just for the idea. So this was the listener pick of the week, as voted by, the whole Discord. Who can we attribute this to primarily?
Matt is the one who threw it
I
out.
think
there
it was
first.
Murphy.
Yes. So thank you to Matt and thank you to everybody who piggybacked, because this was a surprise. As soon as Matt put this in the Discord, I was like, wow, I want to see this, and I was convinced I'd buy it either way. So this was by Takashi Okazaki. Now I don't know who that is, and then the story and art was by them. The English translation is by Aki Yanagi. Joe Caramagna did the letters.
So Takashi Ozaki is the guy who did Afro Samurai,
Oh, okay.
which
Okay.
I think he's in this book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, are you guys familiar with the Star Wars Visions um,
I watched a
brand?
couple of them. Yeah, I
Okay.
think I'm pretty sure I watched this one.
I think this is a prequel to the first episode of Star Wars Vision. So I'm looking at him right now. Takashi Ozaki wrote the first issue of first episode of Star Wars Visions. That was the duel. It was like a Ronin set thing. This feels like a precursor to that, really. I haven't watched it. It's been on my list to watch. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
It's very good.
Yeah, I've heard
Especially
very good things about Visions. Yeah.
especially the Ronin one. There's some weird ones, but this one was cool as hell.
So Sean, the Visions thing is just like they're getting like people who have like a definitive art style in animation or writing or whatever, and then just giving them like, hey, do a Star Wars story, not in continuity. It could be whatever. Use the idea of Jedi, Sith, Stormtroopers, Rebellion, whatever. The idea of Star Wars and have fun. So this just seems like a nice, fun little one shot to tie into that. Which when you have the guy who did Afro Samurai, you kind of want him to do something more than just an animated thing. Like maybe do the actual manga that he did. You know. So I thought this was fun. I had fun with this.
It was definitely fun. It's obviously very much, from a dialogue standpoint, very manga, very anime. In the sense that, I can't generally find my way into this kind of dialogue. And there were things I liked about it,
Okay.
and I definitely appreciate the craft of it. There's some sick pages. This is more of a visual feast, I think, than anything. I thought this was a particularly cool page where this dude just going Super Saiyan for no reason. I mean, he's actually getting hit by lightning, but it looks so damn cool. I think there could have been more here. Like, I feel like this could have been like I almost would have liked to have seen, and this is like blasphemous, but I would have loved to have seen this style depict a lightsaber battle from the history of Star Wars. I would have loved to have seen like what would Anakin and Ewan McGregor, what would that have looked like in this art style? I would have loved that. But as it is, this just wasn't enough for me. It wasn't enough to justify the concept.
I get that, and I think that it either being a prequel or a sequel, I don't really fully know because I didn't watch the first episode. But it feels like it's constrained to not tell the story that they actually told in Takashi Okazaki's episode of Visions. So it's kind of has to be on the peripherals of that. Like we get like one quick fight scene at the beginning, one fight page at the end, maybe two pages, and the rest of it is dialogue or you can tell it's translated. There's one bit where the guy's like, yeah, I can give you a full body massage right now. And I was like, yo, pardon, come again. There's like a good, 5 pages of people just talking while they're, in a hot spring together. But like, even during that, the art looks fucking good. So like, I can't complain too much. Sean, the same guy did Batman Ninja, if you're familiar with that.
I know of it. I didn't watch it, I don't think. I'm gonna pass, but only with the caveat that like this isn't for me. I do think it looks really, really cool though. And it is a one-off, so like it's not like you're gonna have to make a decision about continuing on after this. So
Sure.
if you just want awesome art, because the art is really good, then sure. But if you're expecting some kind of like, if you're expecting it to relate to Star Wars in any way, you shouldn't. If you're expecting a revelation of a story, you shouldn't. And if you're expecting characters to care about, you shouldn't. That's kind of my review. Like, if you just care about the art, go right ahead.
I kind of agree with you. I think the art is fantastic in it. I like the fact that it's kind of a one and done. Like I don't necessarily think I'd want this for a full mini or something. It kind of does what it needs to do. I will say I started reading it like a manga at first because I'm reading digital, so there is no front or back for me. It's just going forward no matter what. But like I was like, all right, this story doesn't really make much sense. I think I went through like 4 pages reading it from right to left before I realized I'm an idiot. But
I had a lot of trouble with the blocking of the characters in the first couple of pages. I guess I didn't realize we'd switch characters.
Same. Yep.
And that really took me out of it.
I had to do a double take
and
to
that was-
realize our POV was on a ridge. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really frustrating.
I agree.
But yeah, it is what it is. For me, I kind of kept coming back to this would be so much cooler animated.
Yep.
Lucky for you.
And yeah, and the animated episode is tremendous. So I'll probably just go watch that.
I might watch it tonight. Actually, yeah, I have time. I already watched She-Hulk.
You know, I think if it brings people to watch the anime after having read it, they get you to double dip. It's a success, Like,
Yeah.
If you're into the concept of it, but you wish that you could see it in motion, and they have that to be able to provide for you, hey, that's pretty good. You know what's not good? And that's the end of our reviews for
The
this
Invisible
week.
Hand of Capitalism.
No, that sucks. But
The invisible hand of our co-host.
the invisible co-host, the co-host
I love that
who
movie. Great Universal
was
monster. Yeah.
tagged once again, but it's not here once again. I tagged Marco last week to review the first 2 issues of New Avengers by Brian Michael Bendis and David Finch, and that tag, the 2 issues, was punishment for being so tardy on the last tag.
I think you got to learn your lesson and just not stop tagging them at this point. Oh,
My
unless
man's
that's
doing
what
it
he
on
wants.
purpose.
I'm not tagging Marco anymore. It's pointless. It's
Marco
just
doesn't get-
utterly pointless.
Marco no longer gets to read extra.
Right. But then that would mean he would no longer get to tag anyone.
Fair. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've only tagged like 3 people.
We should now force him to do
So-
4 issues.
You should do the whole
Make him-
first arc.
Yeah, make him
He
do
should
the whole
do the
first
complete
arc.
collection.
Yeah. I think I'm down.
He should be simultaneously reading Mighty Avengers by Bendis and Frank Cho. That's what I say.
There's almost no chance that he didn't.
No.
Like, he
You don't-
probably started, because he only told us today, so he probably read the first
He
2.
probably read it. Yeah, he probably read
Yeah.
it.
Oh, so read the rest. Go right
You know
ahead.
he read 2 in a week, so he can read at least 2 more in another week.
Punish you with a good time. I figure we'll use this time then, because we've all read it already, of course, just to talk a little bit about it. Because like
I love it.
that's when I kind of first started to realize, like, oh man, I really mess with comics. Like, this is so cool. I think it was as much about the fact that it was something that felt new because of the presentation of it, right? So like, I didn't know that the Avengers had been broken up before that issue. I didn't know what happened. I bought
you
that
didn't
first
read
comic.
Disassembled. You went right into it.
Yeah, I that was my first foray. So I was like, okay. And Bendis did such a tremendous job of reintroducing you or introducing you to the Avengers, whether you were an old fan or not, with some old Avengers characters that you expect on the team, but also some characters that you would never expect on the team.
Yep.
We say the names Captain Marvel now, we say Luke Cage now, we say Iron Fist now, Doctor Strange a little later, and you go, yeah, of course they're on the Avengers. What's the big deal? Wolverine.
Spider-Man.
Guess what?
He was never
Spider-Man.
an Avenger before this.
Guess what? They weren't Avengers. Daredevil. Those were not Avengers stalwarts. Those
Daredevil
were
says
not
no.
core. Sorry?
Daredevil declines the invite.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
but like,
that's why
he
I
was,
like him.
yeah. So that was so interesting about the book. And then he was also seeding a whole large conspiracy that made New Avengers feel like appointment comics. You know, the way we talk about appointment television. And it's so rare for a writer to make you feel that way these days. Bendis accomplished a magic trick. And a big part of that magic trick was the art of David Finch. Because when you look at those pages and you see the way he drew that jungle, when they went to the jungle and they found Wolverine or Sauron or Electro or Spider-Woman or Captain Marvel, forget Miss Marvel at the time. Unbelievable.
The raft breakout?
The raft fight.
Good stuff. I got to say, like, this is also one of those things where it made... it justified the reason for two Avengers teams. You had Mighty Avengers, which was like the corporate big Avengers classic kind of thing, where they fought these cosmic threats or like big stuff. The New Avengers is like, hey, we're gonna do something a little more ground level. You know, like we're gonna take the Marvel Knights idea, which fucking worked previously, and we're gonna make it Avengers. That's essentially that kind of idea.
And even Mighty was years later. New Avengers was the only Avengers book.
True. Yeah.
Yep.
It was radical.
And even going from this to the Sentry in the next volume was wild.
Sentry.
Like, it was a character that I'd never heard of. And, like, even by this point, like, I was at that point in reading comics where I was just devouring anything I could get my hands on. And I could not figure out where this character had come from, why I'd never heard of him, and why he had this whole history. But I was convinced he was in all of it.
Yep.
Like, he made the Sentry feel so real in the Marvel history, but he was never there.
To be fair, a lot of credit is due to Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee for, like, that's what their Sentry Marvel Knights mini was about. It was like, oh, this character's always been here sort of thing. But I think Bendis really was like, all right, he's always been here, but let's make him important. You know, that was the next step up. And, Sentry is like, I love the Sentry. I mean, I think you two are with me on this.
You and I are the two biggest Sentry fans on Earth.
Yeah. Oh, the Sentry is so good. And, like, the Sentry is like a core character that just finds its way throughout it up until Siege. And I would say Siege might be like the last like event of this era in Marvel.
It definitely is. Fear itself feels like a different different thing.
No, Dark Reign ends at Siege. Okay, yep.
Yeah, we got the Heroic Age after that, and then Fear itself, and then all that jazz.
Do you miss those silhouette team building
yes.
marketing campaigns they would do?
Yes.
Where it's like, oh, this person's joining the Secret Avengers. Here's a silhouette. Who is it? And we're like, oh, I don't know. It looks like Beast. Oh, shit, it's Beast. You know, like stuff like that.
It was so fun, man. Like they could do those long teases back then because our attention spans weren't so short. Now it's like, there's a new Secret Avengers team.
They could still
I don't give a
tease
damn
that
who's in
now.
the silhouette.
Once a week, just tease a new character for a team.
I
just don't think they care enough at this point, honestly. Guten Tag, Harris. How's it going? I just forgot Harris has like a new username in every single platform he's on. So,
what's up, Harris? Thanks for joining. So yeah, that's the wrap on New Avengers. I'd love to do a book club on it one day. It's just so long. It's difficult to tackle that, but maybe we can break it up in chunks. I mean, we're doing it for Swamp Thing and Chainsaw Man.
I was gonna say we do a retrospective on the Bendis era of Avengers, but that's a big to do.
Tall order, my friend, and one that I would be glad
Jeff
to tackle.
Is cool with them? Can we talk to Jeff? Maybe Jeff can get us in contact with Mr. Bendis there. Actually, this is a good idea. I like this idea.
I wouldn't dream of speculating about that on the air.
I'm gonna.
But
speculation.
We've got one last thing we like to do here on the show. This is the Pals Pull segment where we let you guys know what books we are looking forward to next week. These are not necessarily the books we'll be reviewing, but generally you can get a good idea of what we might be tackling through this segment.
But I will say, if any of these books interest you and you want us to make sure we talk about it, let us know. That's called a listener pick.
Indeed.
Sean, you want to pick up Batman, One Bad Day, Penguin, #1 by John Ridley and Giuseppe Concoli.
Okay. Right out the gate, that's a
cover.
great creative team.
Yeah.
Both of them are super talented, and Giuseppe Camuncoli is like for the post Secret Wars by Hickman era was my favorite artist working at the time. So talented, and when paired with Marta Gracia, almost no one better. That being said, Penguin's been on a roll. We saw some cool Penguin stuff go on at the beginning of the Chip Zdarsky Batman run. Penguin was great in the Batman film. So I am definitely into the idea of Penguin getting a One Bad Day one shot. The last one didn't excite me. The Two-Face one did, but I'm definitely giving all of these a chance. I think of all of them, this one certainly has one of the best shots to be a home run.
Sean, have you gotten to Riddler yet?
No, but it's at the exact top of my to read pile.
Got it. Okay, cool. But you also wanted to check out Flashpoint Beyond, #6 of 6.
All right, yeah. So we interviewed Jeff Johns, of course. This is actually one of the only books we didn't get to talk about just because of time. But I've been enjoying it. It's weird. It's not. He's not the only credited writer on the book, so it's difficult to know how much of it he's actually responsible for. But it definitely has Jeff Johns' stamp on it in certain aspects, and I'm really excited to see how it wraps up. It's been interesting.
So I've been reading this, and strangely, and I don't think I would have said this, it is kind of fun to be back in the Flashpoint universe.
Yeah,
which is weird.
I'm not even like
I did not like Flashpoint when it came out, so
right.
Yeah,
I've liked it since, but
yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, the worst part about that is after talking to him, I kind of want to go back and give it a try.
We didn't ask him
Flashpoint
what the deal with
but Flashpoint Beyond.
Yeah, we didn't ask him what the deal with Pandora was. I meant to ask him about that, but
I had a whole dude. I wanted to talk about the New 52 so bad.
Hey,
I really did.
Is there? We passed the 10-year anniversary of it.
Yeah, I think that wasn't that 2010.
I feel old then. Shit.
2011. Yeah,
2011. We did a retrospective of earlier in the year on that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. So I wanted to check out Crypt of Shadows #1. So this is kind of a spoopy Marvel horror anthology series, and I gotta say, cover got me good. It's got Werewolf by Night on it, which check out the Disney Plus special. It's really fucking good. It's got Man Thing, Moon Knight, Blade's daughter. So this is a good little prelude to that. Moon Knight, Wolverine, the Laura Kinney Wolverine, and my absolute favorite, Elsa Bloodstone. So this is just like hitting all the right notes for me. And sometimes
Morbius is in there too somewhere.
He might be in the book. He's not on the cover at least.
The cover I saw, it was just a Morbius cover.
Yeah, there's Morbin time on that cover, I guess. But
yeah.
This one's just a little more like it's got a lot of like Midnight Suns energy to it, even though it's not the Midnight Suns book proper. These can be fun. I'm cautiously optimistic. And then you and I, Cal, we want to check out Miracle Man #1. Miracle Man: The Silver Age #1.
I'm very excited about Miracle Man.
Yeah,
he's a grittier Captain Marvel, grittier Shazam, and he's got like his bad guys have some real weight to them, some real threat. This one, I believe. So the pitch for this one is that it's like it's Neil Gaiman and Mark who? Sorry,
Buckingham.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Yep.
Mark Buckingham. It's their unfinished story from
15, 20,
yeah,
maybe even pre-2000s. Honestly, I don't
30 years
exactly.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Miracle Man Jr. wakes up in 2020, I guess, from 1963, and the world has changed. I don't know. I'm excited. I think it's gonna be dope as hell.
Yeah, the story never finished with Gaiman, and Buckingham originally drew art on it. So Buckingham actually redrew everything for this. So it is a retelling of it. It's them redoing what they never
wild.
finished before. So it's pretty wild, and I never thought we'd actually get this.
I
So this is a
know.
long time coming. Like when was Miracle Man announced as like a Marvel property? What, 2012? You know, maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like a
Can
Cup of
I
Joe
say-
panel that I went to.
As someone who has literally never read a Miracle Man anything, I am
I haven't
so
either.
tired and done with this character. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god! Every couple of years they announce a new Miracle
Yeah.
Man, and they always do some tease. Marvel, stop with the tease. Okay, we don't care.
The
Yeah.
Put the book out. Give us something to read and do
Yeah.
something new.
the best Miracle Man story of the past 10 years was probably the most recent Century miniseries. And I'm bringing Century back. I know it was drawn by Kim Jacinto. I don't remember who it was written by. But essentially, Century gets his own Miracle Man Jr., who turns into like a villain and stuff. It's good stuff. But I'm excited to see what this could be.
Yeah.
And then, so I had Marco's in here. Marco wants to check out
Come
Aquaman and
on.
Andromeda,
No.
but I also
Don't
wanted
do
to
that.
Shame, I
That's
wanted,
bullshit.
Put it out.
I wanted to
Get
shame
stop.
him. I wanted to shame him.
No.
No.
Marco wanted to pick up a book by Paro Itagaki called Drip Drip. This is a manga.
Oh,
Where
okay. All right.
The
You can have this
is,
one.
Yeah, it's a manga where this woman, whenever she is aroused, she has a nosebleed, and that's the pitch.
Come on, man.
That's the whole pitch.
This
And
is
normally
That's-
this is the
just-
book I'd pick for you if you don't get your pals pulls into me soon enough for me to put it in the slide. Like this is what I would pick, and Marco picked it willingly. So feel free to judge him. This is I feel like a classic Murphy pick as well. But interesting pick. Drip Drip.
Rom V's watching right now, Tyler, and this is the kind of thing you want to discuss.
Hey, if he keeps watching, then, thanks, Rom. I'm glad you got it this far. Most people don't. So, Kel, you also wanted to
Jesus.
check out Hellboy in Love, #1.
Yeah, it's a new Hellboy.
Yeah,
I don't know. What else is there to say?
He's in
he-
love with a New Yorker, apparently.
Is it a New Yorker? I thought it was a British
She got a
British
Yankee
lady.
hat on.
Their latest victim, Anastasia.
Mm.
He goes, it sounds like it's a train robbery. He has to patrol a train route where goblins have been stealing from passengers. Their latest victim, Anastasia, is a researcher and archaeologist transporting valuable artifacts to a museum. And she's not going to let him go without a fight.
So, as you say, Anastasia, I have a pack of Anastasia trading cards from the movie with Rasputin. You know, the 90s movie?
Oh, yeah.
It's unopened.
Hang on to those. You'll be able to get through college with those.
College again. Yeah.
Again. Yeah.
Lord knows
You know what? Sell those. You can get me through college.
That drip just turned me off, man. That was
Not
weird.
into it, huh?
No.
Not the drip you're into normally.
Just no more Marco's picks when Marco's not here, okay? Thank you.
Marco's
Was-
sticky pick of the week.
Oh god. On that horrific note, that's it for Pals Pulls. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you tune in this Saturday live on Twitch at twitch.tv/thecomicspals, 10:15 a.m. Eastern, to hear my address about the recent updates for the Marvel films, aka Fantastic Four. Tune in for that.
I'm excited, man. I'm gonna be all caffeined up, ready for that discussion.
And tune in to this show live every single Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. If you want to get your listener request in, book you think we should review, write to us at thecomicspals@gmail.com or leave a comment anywhere there's a comment box. We will see it and we will note your request. And if we like your pick or enough people pick it, that's what we'll do. Patreon.com/thecomicspals, $3 a month gets you access to our newsletter. There's a lot of other cool stuff going on over there. Check it out, and maybe you'll decide you want to see what more we have to offer. Thank you to everyone who does. YouTube.com/The Comics Pals. Subscribe for free, like the video, share it with your friends. All that's free to do and helps out a lot more than it costs you. Join our Discord server. There's a link to it in the description of anything we do. And thanks for watching. For Tyler and Kale, I'm Sean saying, until next time, take care, guys.
See you next week.